Hey guys, this is carsonmtech here, back with another video, and in this video, I'm going to be checking out a completely wire-free security camera system. And yes, really wire-free, and so that means no more NVRs, no more running video lines and power lines, none of that. It is completely wire-free, which at first you may be thinking, that sounds a little absurd, and I gotta agree, I thought the same thing a couple years ago when I first got my first wire-free camera from Reolink. So I have had Reolink products for the last 2 years, specifically the Argus 2, and this has been working fantastically for me and my family. So in this video, I'm gonna be checking out the new Reolink Argus PT, and what that means is it is a pan-tilt, completely wire-free camera, which seems crazy, and I think so too. So in this video, what I'll be doing is unboxing this, setting it up, installing it, and then finally letting you off with some of its good sides and bad sides, as well as saying if I think it's worth it for you. I do want to mention that Reolink did send me this camera for free, but they're not paying me to say anything in this video. So if it sucks, I will come up front and say that. But with that being said, let's get right into the unboxing. So starting off with the outside of the box, on the front or top, you do get a picture of the camera itself. Here you get some information about the camera, which is pretty cool. On the back, you get limited warranty in terms of privacy stuff. And also on the other side, you get mentions that the Reolink app is available both on iPhone and Android devices. Aside from that, that's pretty much it. So let's get the box open. On top, you will get a little folder-ish thing here that has a quick start guide, some templates for the mount, as well as a 24-hour surveillance sticker. Beneath this foam piece, you will find an antenna. So this goes on the camera, which the camera is right here. And I do have to say, this thing is pretty hefty. It's got a battery inside of it, as well as all the camera tech, so it is pretty hefty, which is good. I like to have a hefty feeling product, but as far as this antenna goes, just goes right here. So there you go. That is what that looks like on the antenna. I don't know why exactly they added this antenna. I don't personally like the look with the added antenna. I feel like they probably could have put it just inside the body. They've done it before with the Argus 2, where there's like a Wi-Fi antenna inside here and there's no external, but whatever, to each their own. Some people may like that. Here on the front, there is a protection over the camera. And if we're just taking a look here at the body really quick, if you move the camera up like so, you will find this is where a micro SD card slot is. So everything in this camera isn't just cloud-based. You can put a micro SD card in here, and in fact, I would actually suggest doing so. Aside from that, there's also here on the back the power button. So it's actually not a button, but a switch. And this is where you switch the camera on. I'll do that a little bit later. And then finally, a micro USB slot, which this is where you can go and plug this in, which I'll be unboxing this next really quickly. It's a solar panel, and so this is a wire-free system, yes, and you can just completely charge it fully 100%, mount it, and then come back to it like in 6 months when the battery is low and recharge it. Or you could also plug in a solar panel and you would never have to worry about charging your camera ever again. But if you're not doing that, this is still where you go and plug the camera in. And then here on the bottom, you get a 1/4-20 mounting point, which this is where you go and mount the camera. So here on the right side, you get a micro USB cable. This is to charge the camera. You get some mounting hardware, and then finally the mounting bracket for the camera. This is somewhat cheap feeling, but it's what they send you, so sometimes you gotta use what you get. Aside from that, there's nothing else in the box below here, so I'm going to open up the solar panel really quickly. So as far as the solar panel goes, pretty similar box on the outside, pretty similar on the inside as well. It's got another slip here. Below that, you'll find some foam protecting the solar panel, and I do have to say, from having prior solar panels here, this one I do like a lot more. They have a different coating on this one. So this one from afar, it just looks black, right? But usually for other solar panels, I'm sure you've seen solar panels in the past that have the blue look to them. And that blue look still is below this coating, but the coating helps to go and first of all, make it so it's not as big of an eyesore. Second of all, it also goes and just helps to hide the fact that it's a solar panel. So That is nice. But on the back of the solar panel, you get a pretty decently long cable with a micro USB cable on the end. And also here on the back, you do get that 1/4 20 mount as well. On the right side, you get the mounting bracket. Also want to say it also came with some mounting hardware. It fell out of the bottom of this, but it does come with that as well, so you don't have to worry about buying any hardware when installing this. Okay, so as far as setting up this camera, it's literally probably the easiest process you've ever had with a security camera. So first of all, you gotta power it on. You should start
hearing... Camera has been started up. Please run Reolink app, add the camera, and set it up.
Should hear that. So I'm gonna go into the Reolink app, click the add button. Then on the bottom, I'm gonna scan a QR code that's here. I'm not gonna show you that QR code, of course. So you click next, type in your Wi-Fi password, and then now it will give you a QR code that you have to show to your camera.
Scan succeeded. Camera is connecting to your router. Please wait.
And click next, and then it will start initializing your device. So as you can see, this is literally one of the easiest processes I've ever went through for setting up a camera. So what this login password is for when somebody new is wanting to connect to your camera, you're gonna need this password in order to allow them to access the camera. And then now, once the device is initialized, you will get this screen that will show a little bit more about using the camera. So yeah, once you're done, you just click on Use Now. You should be able to see your new camera, and you access it just by clicking on it. And the picture right now is flipped because this camera is meant to be, you know, used upside down, but it is possible to change that. Say you want to go and just like place this in your living room just like that and use it as is. You don't have to worry about the picture being flipped because you can change that super easily by clicking on Settings, the display, clicking on that, and then rotate the screen. And there you go. As far as this app goes, it is filled with so many different things that you can do on it. But before getting too much more into all you can do here in the app itself, I'm gonna go and install the camera, and then I'll get back to you about, you know, some of the other features that it has, as well as how well it performs. So let's first go to a quick installation, and then I'll get back to the app. So after a quick installation, this is what that looks like. Because of those guides, it made it quite easy to install. It's definitely not necessary to have those guides because you can just, you know, screw in the bracket. But this is what that looks like. It is placed right now just like on a playset, and that's just to mimic the idea of maybe having a shed that you want to put this out at and you don't have electricity running to it and internet running to it and something like that. So as long as you have Wi-Fi that is reaching your camera, you should be set, which in this case, we do have internet that is strong enough that is reaching out to here. One thing after mounting it that I do want to talk about more is that bracket that I was talking about earlier. It is pretty flimsy. The camera, because of how heavy it is, it can move around quite a bit when you hit it. So if you've got wind or anything like that, this camera is definitely going to be moving. Now, something that isn't new as far as the camera goes, but is still nice to have, is when you are using the solar panel outside, you don't have to worry about water getting into the port because they did go and throw on a rubber grommet there on the cable. So you don't have to worry about water getting in there. This just pushes right into where the cover covers up. You take that off, you plug it in, and you are all set. You don't have to worry about water getting in there. So no water damage should occur when using the camera. With it being installed now, let's get into showing you a little bit more about the app itself. Alright, so as you can see in this setup right now, the camera is up there behind me, and like I mentioned earlier, this camera is entirely motion based and motion detection based. So it isn't recording 24/7. So how well it motion detects is quite important, and you can adjust that in the app, the sensitivity wise. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna walk in front of the camera, and you'll see on my phone, I'll have this synced up, and you can see how quickly the notification pops up as far as it detecting motion. So I'm just gonna back up. I should be in the camera, there we go. So the notification came very quickly. You just click on it, opens up, and it starts the live stream. So as you can see, that is the view right now, and this still is synced up between my phone, so you can see the delay. I'll move my hand right now. It's about a half-second delay, and this is in the fluent settings. So if you change it to be 1080p, full quality, first of all, you'll see that it does look very nice. The camera quality is pretty good. I do have to say that it is a little bit of an annoyance that it is only 15 frames per second, but it is a security camera, so that is pretty typical. But that is something to mention. But the quality is pretty good. But the actual, live view of it is very delayed, and it can be pretty glitchy, especially when your camera is far from a Wi-Fi access point. So right now, you'll see me moving. It takes about 2 seconds for the camera to go and update. So it is a little bit annoying there, and if you do want to go and use the panning and tilting of the camera, you're definitely going to want to go and put yourself into Fluent. And that's just because when you're in the high quality, it has that super long lag. And I've had issues where when you're in the higher quality, it will go and like keep moving the camera even after you've let go of the little joystick here, which is pretty annoying. Now, one thing that I definitely want to see from this app in the future, and I'll make sure to let Reolink know this, but it's really annoying how there is no default like states. Usually with security cameras that are pan tilt, you can set like a couple different locations that you commonly go to. So say I want the camera to look over here at this side of the house, and then I want to just click a button and then it will automatically go over to the other side. Now, there isn't any like default buttons that you can program to go to those locations, so you have to do it all manually, and so it's not perfect every time. It would be nice to have just software buttons here that will go to those locations, and I don't even think that would require too much. It could be a firmware update to the camera, or even just as simple as an app update. I'm not quite sure, but it would be nice to have that, and I feel like it wouldn't be too difficult to add. So hopefully they add that in the future. But as far as the quality goes and everything else goes with the camera, it's pretty great. You can customize a lot of it by going up here into settings. One thing that I personally did was I went into the display and changed up how the name of the camera, the date, and removed the watermark. You can change that, and you can change pretty much everything with the camera, but in the display settings, you can go, and this is where I showed earlier, you can rotate the display. You can also go and change the quality, which is pretty nice. And as you can see, 15 is the highest frame rate possible. There is a ton of other stuff that you can customize in here. Like I mentioned, the sensitivity of the motion sensing. You can change how it gives you push notifications. And you can also change how long the video will record when it senses motion. So by default, as far as when motion is detected, it will record 8 seconds of video. But you can go in here and change that to 15 seconds or 30 seconds. And yeah, that's usually typically the max of what you would even need in a security camera event like that. So it is good that you can customize that, and that's what that is. So you can customize stuff like that. Overall, it's been really easy to learn. It's very user-friendly, and even better yet, if you have a bunch of these cameras, then you can see them all at once. I wish there was a way that you could change this in the tile view, like the position that the camera's at. It's not possible, but it's not the biggest deal because usually you're not moving the pan and tilt that much, but it would still be nice to have. So you got that tile view and just so much more that you can do in this app. It's pretty great, and I haven't had any issues. As far as the cloud recording goes, that's just another tab here in the app, and you can add different cameras to your plan. So if you only need like 5 gigabytes of recording space in the cloud for like 2 cameras, you can change that. Or if you have like 10 cameras, you can get 50 gigabytes of storage and stuff like that. So it's pretty customizable, and it's pretty decently priced as well, as far as recording these high resolution 1080p files, sending them to the cloud. So it is pretty nice, and having the cloud feature I feel is pretty good to have, as far as not having to worry about if somebody goes and just like rips your camera off your house and steals the SD card. At least you'll have the cloud recording, which is good to have. With all that being said, this camera has been pretty nice, and I've been using it for the past couple of days. Right now I'll just throw on some videos and photos that I've gotten from it so far, just to show the quality of it. Alright, so as a final point, is this camera worth it, and is it good for you? Well, if it's good for you, that's kind of up to yourself, but is it worth it? I gotta say that it is pretty nice to have a completely wire-free camera. Yes, there is the solar panel wire, but that's only if you choose to buy that. That is a separate accessory that you can purchase along with the camera. But it is nice to have that and not having to worry about running any wires really, which is fantastic. Video quality is very good. The night vision is pretty decent. It's not the best out of a camera, but it is pretty decent, especially for this size and price tag. And also just overall, the motion detection is very good, and so I'd have to say that for the price that it comes at, this is a pretty good deal for a pan tilt camera to come in at such a low price. At least what it is right now. I gotta say, it may go up. I can't guarantee that it's gonna stay at the price it is at right now, but it is pretty great for the price, and so I would have to say that I do believe it is worth it. The only thing I do have to mention is that if you don't get that solar panel, you will have to go and recharge this camera every so often because it does slowly die. I haven't had any issues with these cameras dying super quickly, but if they're being used a lot and if there's a lot of motion, I have found that they die roughly every 60 days or so, maybe 90 at the longest. But if you have it plugged into a solar panel, you should theoretically literally never have to worry about the battery ever again until the camera just completely goes kaput. So that is awesome to have, and I do have to say it's pretty convenient. So anyways guys, that is pretty much it for this video. If you want to see my other previous video from 2018 about the Argus 2 camera, which is not a pan tilt camera, but it is still a phenomenal camera, check that out by clicking down there, and also my last video should be up there. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for future videos from me. But with that being said, that is it for this video. See you in the next one. Peace.